you are into the home loan marketplace actually, and home loan is the toughest asset actually in the entire ecosystem. Doing consumer loan, personal loan, there are less formalities, the less documentation. Then there are valuations, legal. There are many things which need to be done physically. So we would like to understand from you that how you are basically changing the entire home loan ecosystem. And in this the collaboration era, how do you think that the banks and other lenders will come to you and then they'll say that we'll want to go with your platform? So over to you, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Ashish. Really appreciate. Good evening, everyone. So a quick bit about my background. I've been actually started my career with mortgages and home loan, and essentially working with one of the largest private sector bank. And that's where the thought of home loan and the expertise on that segment comes in. Two, three things directionally, and I will come to specifics. Mr. Ashish kind of alluded to. We've seen nothing short of a revolution when it comes to various financial products. One way to look at it is the number of startups or the new entrant who have come into this space and have tasted success at a very different magnitude. There are people who have been able to geographically show a great deal of success. There are people who've been able to incorporate the entire process. There have been people who've been able to do multi-product, multi-channel kind of approach. And but the biggest winner here is that the consumer behavior has changed. And when you change a behavior of the consumer, I think you have to start making progress in that direction so that you continuously start having that experience from the consumer side. The bank starts upping their game. And before starting Easy Loan, which is about 15 months old now, as I was talking to some of the top management, private sector, public sector, NBFC, everybody is saying that our board, 50% of the time in board meetings is essentially around the digital, how to source customers digitally, how to process the information digitally, and so on and so forth. That said, so in the environment that I dabbled into, essentially, on one side, I see a lot of success across financial products, great deal of work done by startups, fintech, NBFCs. On the other side, we see a desire from the banks, larger, private, NBFC, wanting to do a lot on the digital side and doing few things on the digital side and wanting to do more. Then we look at the consumer behavior, which is already there. The consumer is already much ahead on the curve when it comes to consumption of financial product on the digital side. And then we look at this one problem, which is about 34% of the entire lending piece, home loan, where we see not as much of innovation, not as much of a disruption when it comes to, say, the entire process, which is reasonably complex, right? From understanding A, the KYC element, B, the understanding of customer based on financial information, and C, the secured product or the subject in this case, which is property. To get all this together is really, as Ashish also kind of mentioned, it's a complex project. How is it that we are doing it? We begin with looking at creating a customer journey which doesn't need to be a replica of what you do physically today among the channels. And there are channels, there's a fragmentation on the channels, right? From B2B channel, which is sourcing from the developer to brokers to, chartered accountants, to actually a B2C where the customer comes in and so on and so forth. So we looked at, first of all, reimagining the entire process, and we've been able to deduplicate a lot of process, deduplicate a lot of data sets which we were sort of bringing in. Then there's a great deal of framework which is available today, access to Aadhaar, PAN, access to bank statement through net banking, access to ITR information, GST information through the portals. And this is just the beginning. With account aggregator coming, the framework coming, getting recognition, your access to data sets will be higher. And I know incredible work also happening in terms of legal reports for the property. We've seen policymakers and the registration, which is happening digitally, although there's a lot more work need to be done in that direction. We've been able to essentially crack the entire onboarding piece across 20 lenders, made it unified, have the same customer experience, maximizing features like autofill and fetch, so that one doesn't have to duplicate the effort of putting these information, be able to do a lot of activity in real time. While you may, bureau score is very rudimentary, basic level of looking at a profile. There's the other data set which is available on the financial side. Try to have alternate data sets to the prime data sets. And that kind of gives you a very good thesis around customer. Run that thesis along with the credit logic of the bank, and here you are able to kind of extract a reasonably good credit call. And that said, we identify ourselves as a front end to the banking system, and we want to enable this process more digitally. There is a credit responsibility with the bank which they undertake, and they kind of do the book building. We essentially make the user experience that much more simple, fast, agile, maximizing the reading and access capability of the data sets which is available. So that's the part I think you were saying, how is it that we simplified the complex process, which is quite lengthy. I recognize that. A lot of work is happening at the later stage part of it, where the physical sale deed or the legal report is involved. I'm aware of the great amount of work which is going in the account aggregator framework, which is the data set made available. But we've been able to really disrupt the everything else, which is coming from a multiple sourcing channel perspective to multiple user case perspective, which is various segments, in terms of salary, non-salary, so on and so forth, being able to compress the geographies together and align that journey, being able to get 20 banks who have very different application form to a common denominator, and made that experience that much more streamlined.